It is our last section of the chapter. And as the title indicates, we are going to be talking about different types of pairs of angles. So first of all, adjacent angles are two angles that share a common vertex and side. So yesterday when we were learning about the angle addition postulate, those angles were right next to each other. So it looked like this picture right here. Notice these two angles, angles 5 and 6, have a common side. They're right next to each other. They have a common vertex and side. And so that's what the angles looked like for the angle addition postulate. And that is what now we can say we call them adjacent angles when they're next to each other like that. Notice these are not adjacent, angles 7 and 8, because they are not next to each other, right? They don't share a common vertex and side. So next, so adjacent angles, that's one term we're learning. Next, we have complementary and supplementary angles. Now, complementary angles are two angles that have a sum of 90 degrees. So sometimes they're pictured like this, where we can see angle 1 and angle 2 together equal that square corner 90 degrees. But they also can be pictured like this as well. It's just their sum of their angle measurements have to equal 90 degrees. So they can be next to each other or they don't have to be. And then the other is supplement, or supplementary angles have a sum of 180. And so we can see here angles 3 and 4, like yesterday, make that straight line. And together they equal 180. But also over here, if we add the measures of those two angles together, it also equals 180. So some other terminology, like back here, we could say angle 1 is the complement of angle 2, or angle 3 is angle 3 is the supplement of angle 4. So if we're talking about like one of the angles or as being the complement or supplement of the other, it means those two angles together are either complementary or supplementary. All right, so in the diagram, let's start. We want to name a pair of adjacent angles. So remember, they have to be next to each other. You, of course, could try this, pause it, check it. So there's only two angles that are next to each other. So angle BAC and angle DAC are adjacent. Now, you can abbreviate ADG or ADJ, okay, for adjacent as well. Next is we want to find two complementary angles. So two angles are complementary if their angles add up to 90. I don't see any square corners here, but I think you could see these two together. If we did 37 plus 53, they equal 90 degrees. So we could say angle BAC and angle RST are complementary. And again, if you want to abbreviate, comp works for me. Finally, we want a pair of supplementary angles. So remember, those are two angles that measures add up to 180. And so let's see. Oh, looks like these two, right? So 127 plus 53 does equal 180. And we have, so we can say angle CAD and angle RST are supplementary, or SUPP. That works. So back up here, sometimes students have trouble remembering the difference between complementary and supplementary. I don't know, maybe this helps. So I think C is the 90 degrees, right? And where this is an S, sometimes I think of that S, see how it's like a C and a C? So two C's add up to 180. Or sometimes I just think like C comes first in the alphabet, so it's the 90, and S comes later, it's 180. Whatever works for you works for me, but we need to keep them straight. All right, so these are pretty straightforward. This is a 90-degree angle. So 62 degrees plus angle 2 equals 90. By subtracting that from both sides, we get angle 2 is equal to 28 degrees. Over here, similar, right? We know that whole thing's 180. So angle 3 plus 47 degrees equals 180 degrees. So subtracting 47 from both sides, we get angle 3 is equal to 133 degrees. Okay, so now they don't give us pictures. They say angles LMN and PQR are complementary angles. So these two add to 90 degrees, right? Find the measures of the angles when LMN is this and PQR equals this. So it really is like angle addition. The sum of those two angles is equal to 90 degrees. So we're going to solve that. 13x minus 1 equals 90, plus 1 plus 1. 13x equals 91. And let's see. 91 divided by 13, 7. Okay, so 13, x equals 7. Oh, find the measures of the angles. I take that circle back. So the measure of angle LMN is equal to 4 times 7 minus 2, 28 minus 2, or 26 degrees. The measure of angle PQR is equal to 9 times 7 plus 1, which is 63 plus 1, or 64. Notice my two answers that I circled. If we add them together, they equal 90. So that's good. All right, so two angles form a linear pair. Oh, I had that ahead of linear pair. So let's talk about linear pair. Linear pair is when you have adjacent angles that make a line. Notice line and linear. So two adjacent angles forming a line, 180 degrees. So technically these are adjacent angles. They're supplementary angles, but they also are a linear pair. And a linear pair is when those two things are met at the same time. So finally, well, let's go back. Let's go back and do the linear pair. So two angles form a linear pair. What I like to do is I like to draw a picture, so I get that visual. The measure of one angle is 3 times the measure of the other angle. So here's the one angle, and this is 3 times the measure of the other angle. Find the measure of each angle. So 3x plus x equals 180. 4x equals 180 divided by 4, x equals 45. We're not done though. So the one angle is 45, and the other angle is 3 times 45, which is 135 degrees. All right, now vertical angles. Vertical angles are opposite angles across from each other on the x. So as they show here, 3 and 6 are vertical angles, as well as 4 and 5. Something they don't mention here, but vertical angles are congruent. So in other words, angle 4 and angle 5 have the same measurement. Angles 3 and angle 6 have the same measurement. Okay. Identify, let's see. Oh, yep, that's where we stop. Identify all the linear pairs that include angle 1. Okay, so all the linear pairs that include angle 1, notice here with this line, angle 2 forms a linear pair with angle 1. And then also we could look at this line, and angle 4 forms a linear pair with angle 1. Now, we want to name all the vertical angles. So if we look first at this first x, We can see, hopefully we can see like 1 and 3, angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical angles. And similarly, angles 4 and angles 2. And then now we look to the other picture. And in the other picture, 5 and 8 are across from each other. And so if we like highlight those, you can see that better. So angle 5 and angle 8. And if we take that X away and say we focus on 6. All right, so hopefully you can see angle 6 and angle 9 are vertical. And then finally, focusing on 7, these two are vertical. So angle 10 congruent to angle 7. All right, so finally, are 6 and 7 a linear pair? The answer is no. Notice angles 6 and 7 together make this angle right here. And that is not 180 degrees. So we could say something like angle 6 plus angle 7 is, or we can even make it better, is not equal to 180 degrees. And that's it.